Thanks, Kurt. You guys ready? Okay, great. Well, thanks for coming over. Appreciate it. Kind of short notice, but as you're most likely aware at this time, this morning about 9 o'clock in the morning, the Canyon County Sheriff's Office received calls from witnesses that a shooting had taken place in a farm field, and that farm field is located on Upper Pleasant Ridge Road and Beat Road, which is the western side of our county, just a little bit east and south of Greenleaf. Our Sheriff's Office responded, as did Wilder Police Department, because they were close to the area, and we found an adult male who was unresponsive and unfortunately was pronounced deceased at the scene from fatal gunshot wounds, suffered multiple gunshot wounds, and we found that the suspect had fled the scene at that time. So our officers immediately put out an ATL, attempt to locate, and information to our surrounding jurisdictions, including Nampa Police Department and others. And at about approximately 9:50, just less than an hour later, Nampa Police Department officers had located the suspect vehicle in the city of Nampa and were able to take the suspect into custody without incident. The suspect was then brought back to the Canyon County Sheriff's Office, where he's been interviewed by my staff, and obviously there was a lot of processes to be done. Our crime lab is still on scene, out at the scene processing those things. There's a lot of physical evidence in this case, and quite frankly, we have numerous witnesses to the altercation, and what the altercation reported this time is a verbal dispute between the two individuals. The suspect in this case is a 58-year-old male, Rene Armilio Navarrete. He is in custody, as I say. The victim in this case is an adult male, but we are not releasing the name of that individual now, pending notification of next of kin. Quite frankly, today it's a sad situation all the way around. You certainly have two families who have experienced a significant tragedy in their lives today. You have two individuals that one being deceased, as I said, another individual in custody. And we'll have to see how that process works out. Obviously with me today, and I apologize for not saying that earlier, we have the Canyon County Prosecuting Attorney Brian Taylor with me today, and Captain Kurt Schenkel from the Nampa Police Department. I want to point out that we are very appreciative of the Nampa Police Department and all of our other law enforcement colleagues here in the area. Everyone jumped right on this case once we sent the word out that we had a situation. Everyone put their resources in play, and I think that's a commendation to the fact that the individual suspect was taken into custody in less than an hour after the incident occurred. So it's a kudos to all of our law enforcement partners in the area. My staff is continuing and will continue to work with the victim side of this case, as well as the family of the suspect in this case, to what the law will allow us to do. Again, tragic. There's really no other way to explain it. And the investigation is certainly considered a homicide investigation at this time. We absolutely do not feel there's any additional threat to the community or communities. That threat has been taken care of. And with that, I don't know that the prosecutor can talk about anything. I don't think so. But if you have questions that the prosecutor needs to answer, then he will if he can. And myself and Captain Schenkel will stand for any questions that you may have.
Were both men from this area?
Yes, both men are believed to be at least living in the area. Origin, I'm not sure on where they're from, but both men working here, obviously working in the field for a local farmer.
So is that where the homicide happened, and what happened?
To the best of our knowledge, the incident took place in the farm field, as I say, at the intersection Upper Pleasant Ridge Road and Beat Road. So obviously working in a field there, and that's where the incident took place. That's where both men were working today.
Were both men members of a field crew out there?
It would appear that they do work for some other individual farm owner in the area. That's what it appears to us, and the information that I have at this time.
Was this an ongoing dispute?
You know, I think we'll find more information on that as the investigation continues. At this point, as I said earlier, a verbal altercation took place. Not sure if there's history behind that altercation today, or if it rose to a head today. I simply don't know. It's just too fresh. Once we sit down with the detectives and the prosecutor, we find out more information.
Can you tell us anything about the caliber of gun? Was it long gun, handgun?
Right. All that information is being looked at right now. There will be search warrants executed. Some will be done today. Some will be done later, early Monday. An autopsy is scheduled right now for Monday morning, as I understand it from the coroner's office. The coroner has taken control or possession of the deceased, and so she will now schedule her autopsy upon her resources, what that availability is.
So a handgun was not recovered at this point?
We are not, physical evidence has been recovered. We're not at liberty to talk about the evidence that was recovered or calibers or anything of that nature.
Are there any witnesses that we know of?
We do have witnesses to the situation, and those witnesses have been interviewed.
Is that the reason, Sheriff, you were able to make, law enforcement was able to make the arrest in less than an hour that you knew you were looking for?
In part, yes, and that's a great point. It's we had a lot of cooperation out there, and which is not always the case, as you all know. So witnesses on scene, able to, obviously someone called law enforcement, we were able to react quickly within that jurisdiction, and then of course the information provided to us, we had a car, vehicle description, and so we were able to get Nampa Police involved, and they again were incredibly helpful in making sure this thing was taken care of early on.
Do you have any idea how long these two individuals worked together, or how long they knew each other, may have known each other?
I do not at this time. Yeah, it's a good question.
Any kind of history with these individuals and your department?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware. Nothing that I'm aware of on a criminal history standpoint with our office.
The victim was shot multiple times. Where exactly were the gunshots?
Well, we're not at liberty to discuss that. Obviously, fatal shots given to the individuals. But yeah.
Is there anything else as far as the circumstances of him being taken into custody that you can talk about how that happened?
Not really, unless Captain, you want to talk about it. It's up to you.
The officers were just able to locate the suspect vehicle with the suspect driving. So officers made a high-risk stop on the vehicle, and he was taken into custody with no issues.
So just on the street, not in a residence or anything like
Correct.
that?
Does the suspect have a prior criminal history?
Not that I'm aware of.
Captain, you called it a high-risk stop.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, I mean, it doesn't take place like a normal traffic stop, just due to the severity of the charges or the incident that they were looking for this individual for. They just take a lot more precautions when they make that traffic stop. More officers are there.
So he was not arrested at his residence. He was arrested. He was pulled over on the streets in Nampa, right?
Correct.
They spotted the vehicle and.
Correct.
Where did that occur?
It was off Greenhurst Road and I'll have to double check. I think it was Greenhurst and
South Nampa somewhere?
yes,
Yes,
correct.
South Nampa.
How long do you expect the crime scene for?
Right. We've been out there obviously all morning, and it's painstaking, as you know. I did get a report here within the hour that the coroner has removed the body from the scene, and so then that will now we'll take our additional and last steps of taking the measurements that the crime lab has to do to get their data points and everything established. So it'll probably be winding down here within the next hour or two. They should be able to clear that scene, and then we'll move into the next phase.
And again, was it someone that was working there that first called it in?
I'm not aware who called it in. I suspect one of the witnesses. I have not checked with the dispatch center on that yet.
We might have already touched on this, but do we know what the dispute was about?
We do not. All the report that I got, Emily, was that it was a verbal dispute between the two individuals, and then one individual pulling a gun and shooting the other. So, I think. Go ahead. Do you have something else?
I know it's a field, but is there any, video? Did any witnesses video?
Not that I'm aware of. I have not been informed of that. Obviously, if we do receive anything of that nature, we'll be turned over to the prosecuting attorney's office along with the rest of our case file for review. Prosecuting Attorney Taylor's office has been involved with us from the moment this happened this morning. Obviously, once we have a homicide or an alleged homicide, We contact our prosecuting attorney, and he's had at least 2 deputy prosecutors on top of this all morning long with us, working hand in hand, so.
Do you know how many people approximately were out there when it happened?
I do not. I do not.
Sheriff, I noticed that there was a onion field and then there was a mint field. A lot of the workers were over in the mint field. Did this start in the mint field and then end in the?
Right. You know,
Can you say that?
I was not out there, and so I can't answer that directly. Quite frankly, I'm sure once our officers got there, they moved people to a safe location, moved away from the crime scene itself, and so that obviously number one, the priority is the safety of the public, and then secondly, of course, we have to address the scene itself and attend to the individual, and then of course, once we knew that the individual unfortunately had been deceased at that point, then we have to start breaking it down as to who saw what, if you saw anything, and bring people in for questioning and interviews. And to be honest, they've all been cooperative. I've been very appreciative of that. The staff has we've had a lot of staff on this today, but it's been very well done. And again, my heart goes out to both families. You have a significant tragedy in our county today, and it's incredibly sad that would happen to anybody and their family. So the witnesses have been cooperative and giving what they saw, and that will be worked out again once the prosecuting attorney takes the case over.
Speaking of the prosecuting attorney, what is the specific charge, sir, that Mr. Navarrete has been charged with? First-degree murder, second-degree?
Mr. Navarrete has not been charged with anything yet, so the investigation is ongoing. Those reports will all come to us, and probably by Monday, Tuesday at the latest, we'll have that determination once we have the opportunity to review everything. In an investigation, I don't know. I defer to the sheriff with regards to.
Arrested on what charge?
Well, I can check with the staff, and most likely we will a minimum, our charging document will show second-degree murder for the homicide, alleged homicide, unless the staff can, is that what it was, Mike? So he's been charged with that. That's what the charging sorry?
With the clarification,
Not charging document, excuse me.
he's been arrested,
Yes, not charging document.
but he hasn't been charged. So the charging decision will fall on my office's shoulders, and we'll make that determination. That I defer.
There you go.
Yeah,
Thank you
he
for
was
the
arrested,
clarification, prosecutor, for second-degree murder.
But that could change depending on what information you find out.
That could change depending on what the prosecutor evaluates.
Yeah, so merely because law enforcement arrests somebody on a particular charge, ultimately the decision falls on my office's shoulders based on all the evidence that will hopefully be provided to us over the weekend, and we'll make that decision Monday, Tuesday.
And Mr. Prosecutor, that's when he'll face arraignment as well,
Yes.
on Monday.
Were officers wearing body cameras when they arrested the suspect?
I don't know what specific officers were out there, but our officers are all issued body-worn cameras, so as long as they were functioning, yes, they would have been wearing body-worn cameras.
But it's unclear, we don't know if they're functioning at this point.
My assumption is they are, and that they would have had them on. All the officers are issued the body-worn cameras.
But as far as you're aware, he was more or less arrested without incident?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, we know that he was arrested without incident, obviously in a high-risk stop.
Gotcha.
With that, I don't know that I can add anything more. Sorry for the misclarification.
No. I think the primary reason why we have these press conferences, the sheriff, the other law enforcement agencies, is we ask all of you, the media partners, that if other individuals have information with regards to this particular investigation, to please notify the Kane County Sheriff's Office at this time. Is any eyewitnesses that we may not know of, or any other pieces of evidence of history or anything, we'd like to know that.
Absolutely. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you very much.
You bet.